Alright folks, what's the crack? Welcome back to another episode of Meet the Members, where we have the chance to sit down and get to know some of the incredible people who call Ormo Bath their business home. Delighted to sit down with Danny Stuart.
Thank you, Matthew.
Mate, we had a wee lunch yesterday and it was like one of the first times that I was speaking to you.
Yeah, probably,
so
yeah.
I'm looking forward to having like 20 minutes of uninterrupted time to get to know you.
I might regret that.
And we really want to start off just by like horrifically and absolutely throwing you under the bus. This is like, I'm not usually like a Hollywood style reporter, but this is as close as I've ever gotten, right?
Okay.
Talk to me about tomato sauce at the breakfast.
It was just I was voicing the opinions of everybody.
Of the people, you were standing up for the small guys.
Exactly, yeah. No, everybody had voiced concern that there was no tomato sauce at the breakfast, so I put it in the feedback.
So good. To be fair, like,
thankfully it was anonymous, so nobody knows it was me.
Oh yeah, nobody knows it's you. Yeah, that's a good thing. So like, are you a tomato sauce guy?
Yeah. It wouldn't be my go-to sauce. Maybe more of a hot sauce kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what would you eat hot sauce on?
Absolutely everything.
Really? Like everything?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have like a go-to hot sauce brand you use?
Usually Frank's is my standard.
Mate, I love Frank's. It was like a baited question. I was like, please say Frank's, because I love Frank's so much. To the point where now I think I've like genetically modified something on my taste buds where I can't eat eggs without Frank's.
Yeah. Just
like my body refuses it. It's just so good.
There's another one, Cottage Delight. I don't know if you ever had it. It's like a jerk sauce.
Had Cottage Delight. Like, is that the brand name?
Yeah.
There's a wee farm shop near where we live, and they sell like Cottage Delight chutney. Would that make sense?
Yeah. The first place I bought it was Dobby's in Lisburn.
Oh yes.
And I was like, what is this?
You mean Dobies? No,
Dobies.
What flavour of Cottage Delight do you recommend? So
I think it's called Caribbean Spice or Caribbean Jerk, but it with bacon and sausages is next level. The
other one, I'm like pretty basic, to be honest, when it comes to the hot sauces. Like, I am a wee bit impartial to a wee bit of sriracha.
Yeah. That's his time and his place.
Do you know where my favourite time and place for sriracha is? That was an elite transition there. You should take notes for anyone who loves segues. St George's Market.
Yeah.
First went in there, moved back to Northern Ireland, say 5 years ago. One of the guys sells like, it's like pieces of potato bread. It's like the size of a plate.
Yeah.
You fry on top, and he went, "Mucker, you want a wee bit of sriracha on that?" I was like, I mean, who am I to say no? Awesome.
Yeah, it's a good shout. Yeah.
Talk to me about St George's Market every Friday for you.
How do you know about that?
I know everything. It's my job to know everything.
I was actually going to tell you about that guy. I had instead of a filled soda, it was filled potato bread sandwich. Kind of put me off fries for about 4 months. So it's a lot of potato bread, but it was lovely. At the time it was lovely. St George's Markets, I would go the odd Friday, get some fish for dinner that evening, just kind of mix it up, keep it fresh. Nice. I like the barbecue as well. So. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And how does barbecued fish go?
Pretty well.
Yeah, I've never done it, I gotta admit.
Yeah, and they sell squid as well, which is pretty good in the barbecue. And then just try and get some random bit of fish that I've never had before.
Epic.
Try it out.
So you guys are a Friday fish?
Yeah, usually that or pizza.
Nice.
Although you got to make the pizza yourself.
Oh.
Can't be getting it in.
Now tell me this: how do you make the pizza?
There's a process.
Okay, I had a feeling there might be.
It's a minimum 48-hour fermentation.
Oh yeah, make the dough.
Yeah, I got to make the dough.
Nice.
So starts off, it's just the typical, the 00 flour. Yeah. Got to buy it in bulk off Amazon though. Got to have that stuff ready.
100%.
Then the yeast, water, 70% hydration, and then stick it in the fridge for at least 48 hours.
Class.
And then good to go on Friday when I get out of here.
Yeah.
So that's it. Yeah.
What are you? Are you like oven? Are you pizza stone on barbecue?
Yeah. So the barbecue I've got's got a big pizza stone on it. So, but this winter I'm gonna be constructing my own pizza oven.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
What are you thinking? Like concrete blocks? You gonna go a bit
concrete
more fancy?
blocks? Yeah. And then the dome itself will be formed out of plaster and several layers of insulation.
Brilliant.
Then maybe a wee steel door in the front.
You've thought about this. I didn't realise you were such a foodie. That's good.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time watching YouTube videos in here.
Nice. Who do I love? I love Babish. You ever come across him?
Yeah.
Big Babish fan. Me and the wife would watch that, and then just like lust after the creations that he makes.
Yeah.
And then not even make them, because you're just on to the next thing. You're like, there's something about just seeing it so visually beautifully laid out is just so nice.
It's like Nigel Lawson cookbook. If you ever read through them, half the stuff in it's like gold flakes and like, what's the point?
It's so strange.
I'm never getting this anywhere.
Yeah. There used to be a wee cafe called Curated Kitchen opposite the cathedral. Belfast Cathedral, around the corner from Established. And I think Neighbourhood's in it now.
Oh yes, yeah.
And they had loads of her cookbooks there, and I remember just going in and just like leafing through and being like, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
Like a blue sausage rolls or something, you know what I mean? You're like, it's so strange, but to look at.
Kind of need her income to make them.
Yeah, that's like good, yeah.
Yeah, so would you be a big fan of Neighbourhood?
Best cut of fish you got from
I suppose personally would be squid,
yeah,
because it's tasty barbecued, really tasty.
And do you really let it sit in the barbecue for a while, or what do you do?
So you usually have to like dip it into hot water first. You have to obviously sort of skin it, take off the beak, take off the head, remove the ink, then you dip it in hot water, and then you fire it on the barbecue.
Yeah.
And then it's quick enough. It's usually about 20 minutes.
Good.
Yeah. So and then lemon and olive oil. It's really good. Loads of salt.
You're a classy guy. I didn't realise you were so classy.
Not classy. Just got 3 kids.
Do you have 3 kids?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that either. Wow.
It's got to make it fairly interesting somehow.
That's class. Yeah, that's a lot of, what is it they say? Variety is the spice of life. You've definitely got plenty of that. So talk me about your business.
Yeah, so I've started a business called WorkStream.
WorkStream?
Yeah, WorkStream. And WorkStream is a platform for subcontractors.
Okay.
And it's about digitally integrating subcontractors and managing their supply chains. And what it does is basically allows them to have all their records in order, so that when it comes to them asking for payment, everything's there. It's good to go. They're not running around looking for bits of paper. It just speeds up the whole process. So yeah, trying to get that off the ground. At this moment in time, we have like an enterprise level version. The main market that we're targeting is kind of small enterprises, say 20 guys or less, and it's more because these are the ones that aren't really being serviced at present. So what we've done is we've developed 2 products. One is for them, and then the other is for like an enterprise level.
Yeah.
So these are companies that have maybe a few $100 million of a turnover. A lot of these companies have existing solutions that aren't really fit for purpose. You know, they've been designed by somebody who doesn't work in the industry, somebody or a company that's maybe went from say like a Sage or a SAP solution, tried to then adapt that into construction, but completely different animal, different beast. They end up paying for these systems that they only use maybe 10% of the functionality.
Yeah.
So what we've done is we've designed it from a functionality point of view and then built it out. And one of the main things is that everybody who interacts with it has a profile that they can then take with them and then use that on down the line. Whereas if you went to one of the sort of market leaders at the minute, you would be integrated into somebody else's system, then somebody else's system, somebody else's system.
Yeah.
So it's just about creating some sort of standardization within the industry, and a lot of it's about capturing records. And the whole reason you want to capture records is if you ever get into a dispute, you have it all lined up.
It's all there. Yeah.
So
and you save like 20 different phone calls, and as you say, the scrambling around, like where did I put that contract? Where did I put this? Where's that sign? Where's that insurance? Where's that?
So at present, disputes in construction cost the industry about $9 billion a year globally, and that's like a conservative figure because there's a lot of these things don't actually make it up to the next level because people just don't have the confidence to pursue it. So like it's a £9 billion problem, and the market itself, you know, is massive, because 95% of it isn't being serviced. You know, so if we could even get 5 or 10% of that,
absolutely,
we'd be laughing.
Great business. How'd you start it?
So why? So my background is in construction. I worked as a Quantity Surveyor for a long time.
So so what actually is that? Because I actually
Quantity Surveyor.
My whole life I've been playing the fraud, right? People have been like, "Oh, I'm a Quantity Surveyor," and I'm like, "Oh, that's really interesting." I have no idea, like not even a baldy what that is.
So everyone who has a baldy assumes it's about estimating, you know, what something is going to cost.
Okay.
In reality, that's an estimator. What happens is an estimator will estimate the price of something.
Makes sense.
And then hand it over to the Quantity Surveyor. And what he'll then do is manage the budget and manage the risk.
Yeah.
So everything's about risk in construction. It's like, say you want to build a house, what you can mitigate the risk certain ways, but what you'll have is the Quantity Surveyor, who's your representative, and he will approve payments, manage the budget, say we're on target, we're not on target. If we're not on target, what's changed? You know, is it potential that we can get money from somebody? Has the supply chain messed up? You know,
Yeah.
it's about just taking everything into consideration and managing the budget, really.
So it's a lot of like the same muscles that like a project manager would use.
Well, yeah. So the two of them run concurrently.
Right.
The quantity surveyor is more the finance side of it.
Gotcha.
Feeds into the project manager, and the project manager then can make decisions.
Oh, okay.
So
You're like, this is how much you've got. Go and do your thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You know, and then he says he's going to spend £1 a day for the next week.
Yeah.
If he spends £2 one day, well, then you say to him, "Why'd you spend £2?" Do you know? And he might go, "Oh God, this happened," and then say, "Right, well, we can get that money elsewhere, or you've just overspent."
Yeah.
What just blowing? What do you want me to do?
Class. So how do you go from that? How does that work? Are you like are you self-employed doing that? Do you work for a company doing that? What way is that industry
when I
work?
graduated, at the time I worked for a large contractor that was specialised in concrete frame buildings.
Mm-hmm.
And from there I started to get involved in a lot of disputes, and I like that. So I reached out to a consultancy based in Edinburgh where I lived at the time, and they took me on board. So what happens is they would then farm you out to big jobs, and there may be, you know, £100 million dispute.
Yeah.
But what happens is when you go in at the bottom, you literally go in at the bottom and you're going through timesheets, and it's like,
Brutal.
what am I doing here? What am I doing in my life? Do you know, I wanted to be here for the contracts. So through that, I met like another consultancy that were leading the disputes, and became very friendly with them. So then when I kind of knew that the company that I was with at the time wasn't really going anywhere, I then contacted them and says, look, I want to, you know, pursue this as a career.
Perfect.
Joined them, and then got involved in a lot of projects all throughout the UK, you know, that had went south, shall we say. But it's good because you're kind of thrown in the deep end. You get to learn what not to do. A lot of people will work with contracts and never really understand them because they've never been tested on them. You know, whereas this allowed you to be tested. You know, you would have conversations with people, arguments with people. You know, you would have assumptions that people would also test.
Yeah.
You would turn out to be wrong. There were hard lessons, but you knew the next time.
Yeah.
You know, so.
So you said like a really interesting phrase there. You said like, I love the disputes.
Yeah.
Why? Or what is that?
I suppose everybody hates getting stroked.
Sure.
But everybody loves to stroke somebody. So you just
not up on the wall.
you know, it's just a case of everybody loves to be right.
Yeah.
You know, and if you can go in, have the contract, you look at the contract and it says in black and white what it is, and you know that it's not in favour of your client, well then it's up to you to look at that and say, right, how does this work in my favour, or how can I get these words to work in my client's favour?
Yeah.
So then you got to interpret it. You know, and then you got to look back over certain things and say, right, there's a bit of a puzzle. How do I piece these together? Now, it's not a case of potentially picking through and saying, right, these fit my narrative, therefore this is what it is.
Yeah.
It's a case of just being the best advocate you can for your client, and then winning in the process.
Yeah.
You know, so, and then the means that you do that, sometimes you don't even need to be right. You just need to be persuasive enough for that person not to call your bluff.
Yeah.
You know, which
game poker.
It's good crack.
Yeah, that is fun. No, when you lay it out like that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But you've essentially created a platform that will get all of the facts in front of people.
Yeah.
So that bit that you hated, the going and looking through the time sheets, it's just like all there. It's like wham bam, you save that so that the people who are playing the game can like play the bit that they enjoy.
Now, essentially, it will do people like me out of a job.
Sure.
But as I'm saying to you, you know, like 90% of the job is going through that, and then the 10% at the end is where you add the value.
That's the fun bit. Yeah.
You know, we're cutting out that 90%.
It's the grunt work.
Yeah, giving it to somebody, and then you know they can run with it.
Cool.
And some people might say, well, through that 90% you can develop a narrative. A lot of the time you're going through stuff that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
You know, you're reading through emails, conversations between people, and you're like, oh God.
Yeah.
You know, and they're talking about lunch choices.
WhatsApp chains, you're like, I don't want to read this.
That's another thing. A lot of people use WhatsApps on site. Now, they're not allowed to, because you have methods of communication that are specified within the contract, and WhatsApp is never one of them.
Interesting.
You know, and then people are sending you screenshots saying, this is where he instructed me. It's like, well, where does it say that in the contract? You know, so...
Brutal.
Yeah.
So, there's a missing kind of piece in your own story here for me. How do you go from that to essentially becoming a tech funder?
Okay, so always wanted to have my own company. Always have. Always wanted to do my own thing. Always had ideas about what to do. I did bring a few ideas to previous employers, and it didn't really fit in with their business, or what they wanted to do, or where they wanted to bring their business. And then the company that I worked for was bought over by an American company at the time. And at that stage, it was a case: do I become ever more specialised in contracts, go back, do my masters, become an expert witness, or do I do my own thing, which is what I've always wanted to do. And I would never see myself as a specialist. I'm always more of a generalist. Somebody else said I was a bit of an ideas man, which means that I never actually fully execute anything, which is probably true. But that was when that company came in and bought it over. I thought, right, now's my opportunity. It's now or never. So I left. I set up a labour hire company. The reason I did that was because that would give me an instant income, but it would also generate quite a large cash flow. So did that. Things were going really well for about a year. And the objective there was to get money in through the door so that I could then focus on this, because I don't know anything about tech. I had to go away, learn all that, but I needed a bit of a buffer.
Of course.
And then coronavirus came. Couldn't get over to the UK because over there they have a lot bigger sites. You can get a lot bigger numbers of fellas on sites. Over here you can only get like 1 or 2. I needed at the time about 20 guys on site to replace my income, which I wouldn't be able to do here because it's quite a small market and it's heavily monopolised by a few players. So coronavirus came anyway. Couldn't get over to the UK. Contracts kind of petered out, but it was a bit of a comfort blanket. If I had got money, enough of the buffer,
I don't even need to start this other business.
Yeah, exactly. And I would never got anywhere. So if anything, it was good boot up the hole. So what happened then was I did take a unit in I suppose you would call it like an enterprise park in West Belfast, and went into it, and it was basically a breeze block room. And I thought, what am I doing here? This is not the technology hub that I need. And I'd said to you before, actually, when I was 14, my dad's a builder, and I'd actually worked in here when it was an art gallery in the event space. There was a big installation. It was like a watchtower, and I remember every breeze block had to be brought up the back stairs.
Wow.
Because it wasn't allowed to use the lift. And then it was taken down a few weeks later, and I had to bring it back down. So, I've been here. Been here before.
I've been here grafting before any of you guys.
So I knew it was here, and I knew when the gallery closed what it had become. I thought, right, that's where I need to go. So came down, and I remember sitting on the hot desk downstairs thinking, right, what do I start here? When I sent out a message on Slack saying, does anybody know anything about websites?
Wow.
And that's where it started. No. So there was 2 guys in here. One helped me with the branding, and then another guy, he kind of helped me with the website, the initial website, and then he kind of put me on to potential solutions to my problem. So it kind of went from there, and then I built like a bit of a prototype of what I wanted. So say the whole concept of a minimum viable product, things like that was all alien to me. I had to find everything out, the hard way. And it was a lot of audiobooks I was listening to, and I was just like, I need more money, I need more people, that sort of thing. So minimum viable product, MVP, came into mind. Built that, went to a contractor, tried to sell him it, and he basically says, look, we can't impose this upon our supply chain. We need our supply chain to bring it to us. So that kind of...
Wow, what a good learning.
Yeah, that was really good, because they're always risk averse. They don't want to impose something upon their supply chain, and then their supply chain have a means of recovering additional money from them. So if the supply chain brings it to them, well then if it falls over, they can say to the supply chain, nothing to do with us. So it as well, it's a lot easier to get past an IT department of a guy who only has 10 people working for him than a company that has maybe 500 or 600. So in a way, it was a bit of a blessing in disguise. So doing that, I then met a few other people, and then I ended up building another platform, which was the foundations for the enterprise version, and then sold it to them. So they now use that for installation of any fibrous, the fibrous network. So the main contractor for that, Charles Brand, they do all the civils installation. civils engineering installation, and anytime they do that, they use my app to track, where the assets go in, how many things have went into the ground, what's been carried out, and then they use that to go upstream to get money off the client, and then downstream to pay their supply chain. So yeah, it's been a steep learning curve, and still plenty to go, but just gotta keep banging your head against the wall.
Totally. Why do you like coming to Ormo to work?
I've always loved coming into a city to work. Anywhere I've lived, it's like only way I can describe it. Now Belfast doesn't have the same feel, but it's like when you're younger, going to a festival, you sort of think, in the lead up to it, you're like, right, we're going to do something here, something's going to be achieved. The older you get, you realise nothing's going to be achieved. You're just going to have a ringing in your ears for the next 24 hours. But when the older you get, like going to London, jumping off the plane, going into the city, it's like, right, we're going to do something today. Things are going to get done. It's the same to a certain extent in Belfast. I love coming into the city centre. Ormo Baths is quite unique in it's kind of a bit of Belfast itself has obviously changed over the years. Ormo Baths a wee bit of that sort of continuity of the old into the new, which is kind of reassuring. But also, it's just the people that you meet in here. Like any conversation that I've had with somebody, there's always been something that has come out of it. Like there was a guy in here that works with the same sort of software that I'm working with at the minute. I couldn't find anyone in Northern Ireland that worked with it. I'd went off and learnt how to use it, and then I'd kind of backed myself into a corner, and then through a breakfast meeting in here, I met him. He was like, "Yeah, I use that." It's like, right, me and you need to work together. So things like that, those sort of spontaneous sort of conversations. There's always something comes out of it.
Awesome. Final question, mate.
Yeah.
If you could go back in time to a Danny that was still a quantity surveyor.
Yeah.
And you had a few minutes of his time, what sort of things would you say to him?
Am I giving him advice, or is he giving me advice?
You're giving him advice.
I suppose I've always been unhappy when I've been working, for somebody else, and I've always been looking for alternatives, or always looking to upskill myself, because I thought the happiness would have been achieved by then. I would have probably just said leave now, just go and do whatever you want. I suppose you're sort of thinking that's not really advice. But it's more, I think a lot of people get into a job, and even before they get mortgages or get married, and they think that's what they have to do. There's a path that needs to be followed, and that's the only way you get forward in life. When in reality, sometimes when you step back and sort of look at it and go, what's the point? And if there's 30 other people in this company that are the same level and intelligence as me, I need to compete with these 30 people to get to the next level. And then when you get to the next level and you see the person, sort of like, is that who I want to be? Is that where I want to go? So I suppose telling myself that at a younger age, that would give me more confidence. Maybe to go out and take more risks, before I had kids, and before I bought a house. And
what is it about doing your own thing that like dread isn't there anymore?
Well, the dread, I suppose the dread was never really there. It was having confidence in yourself that you had an idea that people would buy. And like, as soon as like dread, it was never like dread. There was always an uncertainty. I would let other people down. Like say my wife and my children. Like there was always that uncertainty. But like as soon as somebody paid me one time, that instant I became, what it was that I was looking to achieve. So it's just a case of scaling that up now. It's not a case of, God, I need to do that, or that person went to university, did computer science, or that person became a marketer, or did this, did that. It was like I got paid once. That makes me as much of what I'm trying to be as that guy. And that guy probably never got paid directly. He's worked for a company that got paid.
But that is, I think that's like, I'm sure someone's got like a fancy word for it, but it is like a magical moment whenever you go out there, out on your own, and you get paid to do something. You're just kind of like, it's like magic money. It's different. It's so different.
It is like, but as well, there was never a moment where it was like, that's it.
Yeah.
You know, that's me now. Which is a bit of an expression from Belfast, but you know, it was like, it was never like something clicked. It was like, it was almost, I got it, and I was like, right, now I need to get more of these.
Yeah.
Do you know, I was like, yes, I'm equal to him,
Yeah.
but he's behind me now.
Yeah,
now
yeah,
I
yeah.
need to be equal to these people.
Yeah.
Do you know, and it's always something propelling you forward, propelling you forward.
Yeah. You need that wee
So,
bit
yeah.
of attention, keep you on your toes.
Yeah, you do, yeah, 100%.
Cool. Well, thank you for the chat. Appreciate it.
As well.
Yeah. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you for spending this time with us. I enjoyed that. It's good. It's good because you get so much in that wee bit of time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and even like stuff at the start. Like, no idea you had kids and all. So yeah.
Yeah.
If you're listening, Luke, I hope you learned something a wee bit more about Danny. Maybe Neil can use something to like up his table tennis game. You know, insider information.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you would be interested in coming and checking out Omo Bass, if you're a solo entrepreneur, if you have a small team, even if you have a large team, we would love to see you here. You can come say hello by the contact form, reach out. We'd love to, I don't know, get a cup of coffee with you, give you a free tour of the place, show you some of the spaces that you could use to make this place your business home, just like Danny has, just like I have, just like we all have. And if you'd like to find out more about our members, get a sneaky little glimpse into their lives and their businesses, you can scroll on this page. There's maybe 20 other videos and conversations just like this. So yeah, other than that, have a good rest of your day. Danny, mate.
You have to bring your own red sauce.
Crushed it. Yeah. Make sure you bring your own red sauce.